So if Joe Biden says that we're going to respond in kind with chemical weaponry, are they going to pause and say, well, we don't want to hitch our nation's wagon to this country, America, right now, because it's being led by a crazy person who obviously is mentally incapacitated to some degree and clearly is not able to make good decisions or can't even put out the right words to do so. So there's pretty serious national security ramifications to his mumblings, and we all see it. It's reflected in the approval numbers, but I guarantee you in capitals around the world right now, they see it too.
What do you make of what I would argue is the absolutely extraordinary level of incompetence of this administration when it comes to the messaging? So, for example, when just a couple weeks ago there was suddenly this rumor that Russia was going to use chemical weapons, I did not bother saying a word about it because it just felt nonsensical to me, because why wouldn't you, in a war of propaganda, just be like, yeah, the other guy is going to use chemical weapons. That's a pretty good move. But then Joe Biden was asked a question about chemical weapons, and he said if he uses them, we'll respond in kind. Now, I don't think he has the greatest understanding of what he's saying on any given moment, especially when it's completely off prompter, but that everything they say, we did an incredible compilation on my show a couple weeks ago of the mixed messaging related to sanctions. Sanctions will stop them. Sanctions do nothing. Sanctions do a little. Sanctions do a lot. Everybody from the president to Psaki to Kamala to the whole crew just saying every version of everything.
Yeah. Well, you were highlighting the inconsistencies. The American people see the inconsistencies, and that's why at this present moment, Joe Biden's approval numbers are about those of a really bad case of hemorrhoids. And so it makes sense that the American people they see through it. We all see through it. And it ultimately, beyond the political ramifications for the rest of this year, for instance, in the run up to the midterm elections, it also has profound implications in terms of our relationships with people abroad. Because, for instance, when we start sharing bits and pieces of intelligence, is that really true? And we're asking these countries to do things on our behalf because of this intelligence, right? So that's the cost from our national security perspective when they're putting out bogus information, or they're putting out stuff that's even inconsistent with their own values. So if Joe Biden says that we're going to respond in kind with chemical weaponry, are they going to pause and say, well, we don't want to hitch our nation's wagon to this country, America, right now, because it's being led by a crazy person who obviously is mentally incapacitated to some degree and clearly is not able to make good decisions or can't even put out the right words to do so. So there's pretty serious national security ramifications to his mumblings, and we all see it. It's reflected in the approval numbers, but I guarantee you in capitals around the world right now, they see it too.
How do we reverse some of this stuff? Because, okay, we could all say, all right, the errors always seem to be in the Democrats' favor, or the leaks are always to the New York Times in the favor of the Democrats, et cetera, et cetera. But this isn't just, okay, elect more Republicans and you're going to save the intelligence services, right? I mean, what is the solution?
Well, I mentioned Jack Kennedy earlier. He has a pretty famous quote that I love and I embrace, and it's, when we seek out solutions, let us not seek the Democratic answer or the Republican answer, but the right answer. And I think that most reasonable people in this country understand that that's really how you should govern, and that's how you should lead your own families, not necessarily in terms of your politics, but you look for the right way to do things based on, reasoned and critical thinking. So the issue then is, at this moment in time, do we have two parties or two movements or another party that we're not considering beyond the Democrats, Republicans, who are committed to critical thinking, to reason? Or is one of them just so wildly off the mark that we just have to say, look, for right now, those people are too crazy? And that, for me, that decision was very obvious about a year ago. I left the Democrat Party, became a Republican, not because of any, profound affection or affinity for republicanism in general, although I've always been a conservative. But the point is, we actually have people on the left right now, the Democrat Party, which I've been a part of for a long time, was my family, who are saying critical thinking is bad, right? Reason is bad. Why? Because those are things that white people do, and white is bad. That's not hyperbole, by the way. They're saying this. You know this. You've spoken about this eloquently. So if that's part of the the answer that people are when they have to go to the ballot box and they're saying, okay, do I want elected people who don't think that reason or critical thinking is a good thing? In fact, it's a bad thing because it's white. Like, no, it doesn't even matter what the rest of their solutions are. Those people are crazy, and I'm not going to vote for them. Now, you very again eloquently talk about that the left is mentally bonker. They're mentally ill, and that's true. The party is full of these folks, and because they are so full of these sort of panicked, hysterical ways of thinking, that they're not responsible enough to govern. There are some Democrats still who are reasonable, but they choose to be quiet, right? Some of the blue dogs, for instance, they have chosen to just be quiet, to go along, to get along. And that's just not enough, right? I mean, there aren't enough of them, and they certainly aren't speaking up to say, yep, all right, they're crazy elements, but I'm going to give them a shot. Because those people are not in leadership, and they never will be.
So that's exactly why I said at the beginning that we've had similar political evolutions, because you were a Democrat most of your life, and you've probably heard me say it, but my new line that I've been saying for about a year and a half now is, you don't have to be a Republican, but you cannot be a Democrat. That seems like the honest assessment. It does not mean that these guys are right and they screw up an awful lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But as AOC said, you don't have to be factually right, you have to be morally correct. That is some dangerous, dangerous stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's reflective of her political movement, which is not liberalism, it's Marxism. And she's very clear, although she hides it on occasion or dresses it up in TikTok dance videos to make people think that it's cute and fun. But you are absolutely right. You have called this out consistently, and folks watching know that that is absolutely the truth. Because we have eyes and ears and we listen to people on the left right now. The video that went around some time back of, I think it was Dennis Prager who went on the Bill Maher show a number of years ago and was talking about this idea of sort of the trans movement, and that right now, a bunch of people are saying that men can menstruate. And what was so interesting is, of course, the Bill Maher and others were laughing at him at the absurdity that anybody would propose such a thing. But it was also that the audience was laughing at the suggestion that men could menstruate. I mean, they all thought it was just this absurd thing these crazy right-wing people were saying. But it turns out he was right, both then and now. And other people were making this argument. Look, you're not only are you telling us that we can't think, or we can't think for ourselves, or can't think critically or with reason, but now you're actually telling us to abandon basic biology, basic facts. And so the question is, why? Why are you having us do this? Because this is crazy. And so politically speaking, you're going to start losing a lot of people who otherwise identify as Democrats or moderate Democrats, even some progressives that I've talked to, and I'm sure you have as well. They're like, okay, I don't know where this is going or where it came from, but this is really weird. They want to be embracing all kinds of different people, and they want to create a lovely opportunity for folks to excel in life. But this stuff of the magic closet, where teachers right now are telling trans kids that they can go into the secret closet with the teacher and swap out their clothes, but don't tell mom and dad. I mean, come on, that's ridiculous. That kind of stuff, that's creepy. It is grooming behavior, and it's wildly inappropriate.
Yeah, and people are more upset with the label grooming than actually what's going on in the freaking secret closet. And to your point about Dennis Prager, that was probably a year and a half ago. And, just in the last couple of weeks, we confirmed a Supreme Court justice who isn't a biologist, so she has no freaking clue what the difference between a male and a female is. But okay, so let's if someone's listening to this and they're like, all right, I won't vote for Democrats, at least for now, I'll vote for Republicans. So now we get all the Republicans in, we get the red wave that I pray will happen because we need it at least for now. What will they do that will fix the intelligence agencies? I mean, what really has happened? Are we just cleaning house, firing? You hear some people just fire everybody or close. I mean, I hear people talking about just close them all, just get rid of everybody.
Yeah. Well, look, I think all options have to be on the table. And I think that you have to understand that within the Department of Defense, the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA, there is a history of doing a pretty profound sort of investigation, as it were, panels on the House Intelligence Select Committees. There was a church committee back in the 1970s when there were all kinds of horrible things the intelligence community, the CIA, was doing. They had these conversations where they said, look, you guys are out of control, and here's what we need to do to fix it. So in other words, let's acknowledge there's a problem, and then let's talk about how we fix the problem. And I think that that's where you need to start. And I think Republicans would be very, very wise in both the House and the Senate to have those series of investigative conversation, those panels, those committee conversations, and probably many months long, where you just start, airing some dirty laundry inside the intel community, some of the bad things that they would probably otherwise folks want, they don't want us to know about. Put it out there, and let's have some solutions based on how bad the rot is.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.